Hello, Ireland, the land of legends and the birthplace of one of the largest criminal organizations in the world, the Kinahan cartel, a name synonymous with dramatic and dark dealings. A gang that began with a father's hands and now his sons continue to rule this bloody empire. The story of Ireland's Kinahan crime syndicate began in the heart of Dublin, with none other than Christopher Vincent Kinahan, also known as Dapper Don, a figure feared in the underworld for his sharp mind and dangerous ambitions. In 1986, Christie was arrested in connection with a heroin shipment worth £117,000, a staggering amount at the time. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but could prison bars really cage Christie's ambition and intellect? Wrong. Behind bars, Christie didn't just wait for his freedom. He used that time to earn 2 university degrees and even turned down an early release to complete them. And that wasn't all. He mastered both Spanish and Dutch, further expanding his international influence in the underworld. With the ability to speak 5 languages, Christie easily built a powerful network that transcended Ireland's borders. But what's remarkable is that Christie wasn't born into the shadows. He came from a middle-class family and was educated at one of Ireland's most prestigious schools. However, after his first run-in with the law in the 1980s, Christie took a path of no return. The path to crime. His ambition didn't stop at small-time smuggling. He had grand plans for a vast smuggling empire. Christie's 2 sons, Daniel Kinahan and Christie Jr., had no choice but to follow in their father's footsteps. They were quickly drawn into the whirlwind of power and violence that consumed the cartel. Daniel took charge of daily operations, while Christie Jr. handled the finances. In recent years, Daniel has become the face of the Kinahan cartel. Daniel wasn't just a shadowy figure in the underworld, he also worked hard to craft a public image as a prominent sports promoter. In 2012, he founded MGM, later renamed MTK Global. However, a legal dispute with MGM Grand Resort in Las Vegas forced him to change the name. Daniel then turned MTK Global into one of the leading management and event organizations for boxing and mixed martial arts. At one point, Daniel signed a contract with world heavyweight boxing champion Tyson Fury. Despite his efforts to clean up his image through sports, but the dark cloud of the underworld followed him. Because of this, he was forced to step back from the company, but even then Daniel's name continued to be mentioned in the boxing world. Tyson Fury publicly thanked Daniel for helping arrange the fight between him and Anthony Joshua in 2020. However, MTK Global couldn't escape the collapse brought on by Daniel's undeniable ties to the cartel, and by April 2022, the company had officially shut down. In the chaotic underworld, gang conflicts are inevitable, but the feud between the Kinahan family and the Hutch gang took violence to a new level. Blood spilled without end, and every move carried the price of a life. This was a bloody war with events erupting like wildfire, scorching both sides, and it all began on one fateful morning. At around 11:30 a.m. on September 24th, 2015, Gary Hutch, the nephew of Notorious gang leader Gerard "Jerry" Hutch, also known as the Monk, was shot dead in Costa del Sol by none other than the Kinahan cartel. The Monk, leader of the Hutch gang, was a terrifying figure in the criminal underworld with a cold hand and a strategic mind. Gary had once been a trusted ally of Daniel Kinahan, but betrayal over money and suspicions that Gary was spying for Spanish police led Daniel to act mercilessly, ending Gary's life. It was a flawless execution, leaving no trace and igniting a fire of hatred. Not long after Gary's death, the bloodshed continued. On October 9th, Derek Hutch, Gary's brother, was brutally attacked in Mountjoy prison. The Kinahan gang had placed a €10,000 bounty on his head, but Derek miraculously survived the savage assassination attempt. Then on February 5th, 2016, the real war broke out when the Hutch gang retaliated in an event that shocked all of Dublin. At the Regency Hotel, during a weigh-in for the WBO boxing match, 5 masked men disguised as police stormed in and opened fire. David Byrne, a close associate of the Kinahan gang, was left dead in a pool of blood while Sean McGovern was seriously injured. Daniel Kinahan, the main target, managed to escape just before the hail of bullets began. Less than 3 days later, Eddie Hutch Sr., the Monk's brother, was shot dead in his own home in Dublin. A brutal revenge for David Byrne's death. The nightmare didn't end there. On March 23rd, Noel King's Eyes Duggan, An ally of the monk was killed in his car. Violence escalated relentlessly, and soon, innocent people began falling victim as well. On April 14th, Martin O'Rourke, an innocent man, was shot dead after being mistakenly identified. And as if this hatred knew no bounds, just 11 days later, Michael Barr, another innocent mistaken identity, was killed by the Kinahan gang. The deaths kept coming like a chain reaction that couldn't be stopped. By May 24th, Gareth Hutch, Gary's cousin, was murdered near his home, and the war continued with bloody and calculated assassinations. On July 1st, David Douglas became another victim. Unable to reach the monk, the Kinahan gang decided to target all those close to him, sending them one by one to the grave, just as they did to the monk's close friend, Noel Kerwin, on December 22nd. This bloodbath showed no signs of stopping as the Hutch gang retaliated by killing Michael Keogh, an associate of the Kinahan gang. On May 31st, 2017, the Kinahans were quick to respond, avenging this by killing Kane Kerwin, Noel Kerwin's son, in December 2017. Like a horror novel, this story spread across Dublin streets. On January 20th, 2018, Derek Coakley Hutch, the monk's nephew, was murdered while sitting in his car. Soon after Derek's funeral, the Kinahan gang struck again, killing Jason Molyneux, who had just returned from the funeral, pushing the conflict to its peak of hatred. After a brief lull, violence erupted again on December 22nd, 2018, when Eric Fowler, a figure linked to the Kinahan gang, was shot dead at the entrance of his home. This was one of the final acts in this long-running feud, which claimed the lives of at least 18 people, most of them from the monk's side. In the aftermath, Garda police launched multiple major crackdowns, arresting over 70 members of the Kinahan cartel across Ireland, the UK, and Spain, forcing the Kinahan gang into hiding. But as darkness engulfed the Hutch gang, the Kinahan cartel only grew stronger, rising to become part of a super cartel, a colossal organization that controlled a vast portion of Europe's drug market. The battle between the Kinahans and the Hutches was a deadly game of chess, where blood and power were the pieces. And when night fell, only the strongest would survive. This drug alliance was unlike any other before it, bold and ambitious. Instead of waging a death match for the throne, the most powerful kingpins decided to combine their strength, thus giving birth to a monstrous super cartel. Operating from Dubai, a haven for criminals, they moved like hidden beasts, each one possessing distinct skills and vision. When united, their power became a nightmare not just for the police, but for anyone who dared challenge them. Living in the luxury of Dubai, these crime lords spent money like royalty. Million-dollar cars, dazzling diamonds, and lavish lifestyles were only sustained by the enormous profits from tons of cocaine flowing through their hands, feeding Europe's drug trade. Dubai, a land with no extradition treaty, had become the ideal refuge for criminals seemingly untouchable. But then the unthinkable happened. International pressure forced Dubai authorities to take action. Once untouchable figures like Imperiali, Eden G, and Ridwan Taghi were arrested right in Dubai. Faces that had once been invincible now crumbled before the law, none of them understanding how it all unraveled. Richard R. was even captured back in his home country of Chile, while Imperiali, who once knew no fear, began cooperating with Italian police, turning into an informant. The only stroke of luck in this legal whirlwind fell upon Eden G, as Dubai police were forced to release him because the Netherlands didn't send the extradition papers in time. Meanwhile, Taghi's trial in the Netherlands has yet to conclude, but with everything that's happened, his future seems bleak, likely facing a life sentence. As everything around him collapsed, Daniel Kinahan, the last of the super cartel, began to sense the looming danger. Rumors circulated that he was looking for a way out of Dubai, aiming for a distant land beyond the reach of U.S. authorities. Qatar or Kazakhstan, nations that could become his new safe havens, were now his targets. Daniel had visited Kazakhstan multiple times, and his last public appearance was in July 2019 at a lavish charity event in Astana. There, he spent $140,000 to purchase a signed Virgil van Dijk soccer ball from the Champions League final. However, as rumors spread, the Kazakh embassy quickly denied any involvement and pledged to cooperate with international investigations. So, Daniel remained on the run, searching for a new refuge. Christie Jr. Daniel's brother found himself in a similar situation. Meanwhile, their father, Christie Sr., is believed to be living in Zimbabwe on a temporary visa. However, Zimbabwean authorities have also refused to grant him permanent residency, fearing their country might become the new center of his notorious smuggling empire. According to leaked documents from the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, ICJ, Christie Sr. was once involved in a shocking plot. The plan to purchase 9 de Havilland Canada DC-5 Buffalo aircraft from the Egyptian Air Force. These planes, with their ability to land on short runways, would have been ideal for transporting cocaine, allowing him to expand his empire further into Africa. Currently, he's using ambulance planes as a front to smuggle drugs, utilizing secret airstrips and even bribing officials to control strategic routes into Europe. With all their bold and cunning moves, the Kinahan cartel has become the second most powerful force after the Colombian cartels in controlling Africa's lucrative cocaine corridor. The game isn't over yet, and their story continues to unfold in the shadows, where every move is fraught with danger and scheming. Will Christie find permanent refuge in Zimbabwe, or will the cartel continue to hide in secrecy? One thing is certain: the whereabouts of the Kinahan family remain a major mystery, and that's how they survive. Quietly, yet never surrendering. If there is one organization more eager to hunt the Kinahan family than anyone else, it's the U.S. Department of State. Since April 2022, Daniel, Christie Sr. and Christie Jr. have been placed on an urgent wanted list. And this isn't just a routine manhunt. They've put up a $5 million reward for any information leading to the arrest of these kingpins or the dismantling of their financial network. $5 million, a staggering sum enough to shake even the most loyal in the underworld. As soon as the reward was announced, Garda, Ireland's national police force, received an influx of intelligence, both domestic and international. Those in the shadows began to betray each other. Now Garda claims they are tightening the noose around the Kinahan cartel. The plan is in motion, and the end of this criminal empire is only a matter of time. But the question remains: is Garda truly nearing the point of dismantling the cartel, or is this a psychological game meant to scare Kinahan into lowering his guard? Who will be the first to crack under pressure and give up valuable information in exchange for the massive reward? In this dark underworld, can loyalty withstand the temptation of millions of dollars? The U.S. government didn't stop there. They took an even harsher approach, banning entry for at least 600 individuals linked to the Kinahan cartel, a move aimed at preventing any criminals from setting foot on U.S. soil. The crackdown on encrypted systems has uncovered a series of criminal cases, exposing numerous shady connections within the international crime network. Now Kinahan is the only gang left standing from the once powerful super cartel. The other members have been captured or are living in hiding, awaiting their inevitable date, with justice facing decades of prison time. The global manhunt is accelerating, and with the determination of law enforcement agencies, it seems only a matter of time before the Kinahan cartel collapses entirely. But until that day comes, they continue to run their drug empire, resilient amid the legal storms, holding on to their power in a blood-soaked world of betrayal.
Attack, retaliation, and then another cycle of attack and retaliation. A never-ending, vicious circle. The violence in Sweden has gripped the country, pushing the entire nation into a state of crisis. We know that rival gangs are continuously embroiled in a relentless battle, but the situation in Sweden is far more serious and tangled than what you might know from this video. Two men who were once comrades, trusting and believing in each other, have now become irreconcilable enemies. A friendship turned into deep hatred, to the point where one of them decided to do the unthinkable, murder his opponent's mother. Such brutal acts could not go unanswered, but no one could have anticipated the coming wave of terror. This is the story of the Foxtrot Gang and the horrific consequences that followed. In my previous video on Rawa Majid, I gave a basic introduction to the man and his involvement. In this video, I will delve deeper into his life and what is currently happening in Sweden. Apart from facing numerous enemies from rival gangs, Rawa is also dealing with serious trouble within his own Foxtrot gang. At that time, The Foxtrot gang was no longer as tight-knit as it once was, and internal conflicts had arisen, causing members to turn against each other. Ismail Abdo, also known as Strawberry, who had once been Rawa's close ally and was considered his right-hand man, was accused of falling out with Rawa after a serious personal argument. Ismail Abdo, aka Strawberry, played a crucial role in overseeing the drug operations of the Foxtrot gang. He had previously been convicted of possessing weapons and committing serious drug offenses, among other charges. In 2016, he was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. After serving 2/3 of his sentence, Ismail was released on November 10, 2019. However, he quickly returned to a life of crime and continuing to traffic drugs. Since September 2022, Ismail Abdo has been detained in absentia for his suspected involvement in a highly serious drug smuggling case involving 100 kilograms of methamphetamine and other substances. However, he fled to Turkey and became a Turkish citizen to avoid arrest. There are several theories regarding the cause of this conflict that have been discussed in the media and by the police. Among these three theories are considered the most likely and are supported by some minor evidence. The first theory involves a missing or botched shipment, which led to arguments between Rawa and Ismail about what really happened and who was responsible. These discussions escalated into a full-blown conflict. The second theory relates to internal disagreements about the use of violence. Issues included the use of teenagers as soldiers and the increasingly common practice of targeting innocent family members, along with victims often being innocent civilians. The third theory is a bit more wild. It suggests that Rawa may have orchestrated the theft of his own shipment to profit further from the same cargo. This theory also suggests that the rift between the two began as early as 2023, which sounds quite bizarre, doesn't it? In a complex case currently being tried, 6 people are being charged with serious crimes such as organized robbery, drug offenses, and unlawful detention. On January 16, 2023, during an arrest, several suspects recklessly fled from the police by car. Among them was a 24-year-old man, notable for his fox-shaped ring, a symbol of the Foxtrot gang, who was captured. This indicated that he was a key member of Rawa's organization. This man and his accomplices were suspected of planning to seize 46 kilograms of marijuana by attacking and robbing Foxtrot's own delivery man. This courier was commanded by someone with the alias Dr. Phil, whom the police believed to be Ismail Abdo. Police suspect that Rawa Majid ordered his group to attack the courier, forcing him into debt and making him continue working for Rawa. When arrested and interrogated, the courier revealed surprising information, stating that the attacking group was an enemy of Dr. Phil and had deliberately set him up. The courier said, "It felt like they wanted me to fall into a trap. I was pushed into a remote area." When asked why they would want to deceive the person behind the alias, Dr. Phil, he replied, "They want to destroy him." There's definitely someone within Dr. Phil's network playing a double game. The charges against the attacking group were brought to court at the end of August, and notably, only about 2 weeks after the trial, a new wave of violence erupted. Is this the real cause of the conflict? The media and the police may never truly know the reason. Only Rawa and Ismail can say for sure. Whatever the true reason, the consequences have spread across Sweden and beyond. A brutal war has broken out, and everything seems justified. These two men were once very close, knowing each other's weaknesses and the whereabouts of close family members. Particularly, information about each other's families became highly valuable in the effort to win this war. It all started with a shooting in Istanbul on September 6, 2023. This shooting was allegedly ordered by Ismail to eliminate Rawa, and it was all captured by surveillance cameras. The footage shows 2 men arriving on a motorcycle, one of them jumping off and firing multiple shots at a group of 5 or 6 people, one of whom was believed to be Rawa. Without hesitation, the group returned fire with strong force. Luckily, no one was seriously injured, but it was clear that retaliation was imminent. This attack led to immediate revenge. Just 1 day later, on September 7th, Ismail Abdo's 60-year-old mother was murdered in her own home in Uppsala. While Sweden has seen many unprecedented events, this incident demonstrated the ruthlessness of Rawa Majid and his gang, as even the mother of his rival was not spared. After this, there was no turning back, and the situation would undoubtedly worsen. A 19-year-old man and a 15-year-old boy were arrested shortly after the murder. When asked if more retaliation was expected, Police Commissioner Jonas Aranen responded, "We are highly alert to what may happen. We are using all available resources to prevent possible acts of revenge. As a precaution, we are monitoring houses that may shelter important individuals." However, all preventive measures proved futile when just 2 days after Ismail Abdo's mother was killed, another brutal act of revenge took place, this time targeting Rawa's mother-in-law. A mysterious man repeatedly knocked on her door, but no one answered. After a few minutes, he fired several shots into her apartment before quickly fleeing. Had she opened the door, she likely would have been killed. Immediately, many questions arose. The police commissioner had previously promised that key houses would be monitored, but was Rawa's mother-in-law among those being protected? In a panicked interview, Rawa's mother-in-law exclaimed, "It's clear they are targeting me. I'm not someone who cries easily, but now I am absolutely terrified." The police commissioner responded, "We have tried to maintain a presence at the most critical addresses, but unfortunately, we cannot be everywhere." This was a reasonable stance because, according to the police, the list of addresses at risk of attack had grown to around 150, making it nearly impossible to protect all potential victims. That same night, explosives were discovered near the home of someone close to Rawa. With the increasing boldness of the attacks, it was only a matter of time before an innocent person, unrelated to the conflict, became a victim. This happened on September 12th when the police received a report of a murder in the stairwell of a building where a man had been killed. After an investigation, it was revealed that the victim, Mogos Emanuel, had no connection to the conflict and was merely an innocent bystander, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. This incident was quickly followed by another shooting around 3:45 a.m. on September 13th. Once again, the target was a family member of Rawa. Although the gunman fired several shots, but his intended target managed to escape. The police arrived immediately and arrested the shooter who, once again, turned out to be a young boy. On the same day, another explosive device was found in the area. A local resident discovered it and called the police, who defused the bomb on site. Around 9 a.m. that same day, a 19-year-old named Giovanni was murdered in Vasastan, central Stockholm. According to police information, Giovanni was linked to Rawa and was involved in drug trafficking. It is believed that he came to Stockholm to hide, as he was a target in the Foxtrot gang's internal conflict, but even that couldn't save him. Just a day later, multiple shots were fired at the door of an apartment in Norrköping. According to media reports, this time the target was the mother of one of those arrested in Turkey after the Istanbul shooting. On September 15th, a large explosion occurred at an apartment building in Uppsala, north of Stockholm, where someone closely associated with Rawa lived. The explosion took place right at the entrance, where a similar incident had happened at the end of January 2023. Could this be a sign that the conflict had started back in January? On September 27th, another innocent victim became the target. A large explosion in Uppsala destroyed several homes. The intended target was once again a relative of Rawa, but this time a 24-year-old woman living in the neighboring house, completely unrelated to the conflict, was killed in the blast. She was about to become a teacher with a bright future ahead. The incident caused total devastation, severely damaging 2 houses and shattering the windows of many others in the area. A witness said, "Everything was completely destroyed. The entire outer wall was gone, and the neighboring house was also completely demolished." Many more bombings and shootings have occurred in this brutal conflict. However, Swedish police have yet to definitively link these attacks to the feud between Rawa and Ismail, as they need to gather more evidence. They believe that most of the attacks are likely connected to the conflict. The sheer madness and ruthless violence have forced many people directly involved to flee Sweden, with some family members and relatives also running for safety. One family member, who had no involvement in the conflict apart from being related to one of the participants shared anonymously in an interview. "I can't sleep at night because I don't know if my front door will be blown up or if some crazy person will come in and shoot us. We are absolutely terrified." Throughout September, Sweden experienced an unprecedented wave of violence with 11 fatal shootings, marking the worst month since records began in 2016. Notably, most of these attacks are believed to have been caused by the conflict between Rawa and Ismail. The surge in attacks from Ismail's side has led investigators to question Rawa's strength and the power of his Foxtrot gang. Rawa, who fled to Turkey around 2020, used the Golden Passport program to buy Turkish citizenship. This program allows individuals to acquire citizenship by investing $400,000 in Turkey's economy, such as in real estate. The unique aspect of this program is that it doesn't require extensive vetting. Applicants only need to prove their identity, making it attractive to criminals seeking refuge. Becoming a Turkish citizen brings many advantages, particularly the ability to avoid extradition. Turkey typically does not extradite its own citizens, and without a formal extradition agreement with Sweden, Rawa's risk of being extradited was significantly reduced. However, the conflict has raised suspicions about the protection Rawa may be receiving from high-ranking figures within Turkey's police and government. Reports suggest that Rawa might be under close surveillance. Some confidential information that Sweden sent to Turkey regarding Rawa was immediately leaked, raising doubts about whether Rawa is receiving special protection. On October 5th, a shocking piece of news emerged. Rawa Majid had been arrested while crossing into Iran. Several independent sources confirmed that the arrest took place during a routine traffic stop. It's possible that fake ID documents led to his capture. However, Swedish police and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have not yet confirmed the information. There is no concrete evidence, such as photos or videos of Rawa in handcuffs, which adds to the uncertainty surrounding this report. Shortly after the news broke, Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson was interviewed, and he acknowledged having received the information but could not confirm it. Those close to Rawa immediately denied the report, further complicating the truth. Many believe that if Rawa had indeed been arrested, he might only have been temporarily detained and then released for unclear reasons. While the situation surrounding Rawa remains unclear, one thing is certain: he is in serious trouble. As the conflict with Ismail intensifies, Rawa faces additional challenges that are severely undermining his position. The situation worsened when one of Rawa's stash houses was raided by police, sparking concerns of further blows in this bloody war. On October 6th, when police stormed an industrial area, they discovered a massive drug cache worth 32 million krona, roughly 2.7 million euros. On the phone of one of the suspects, police found images of the man wearing a fox-shaped ring. During interrogation, the suspect claimed he had found the ring at a market stall and decided to keep it. Could this be a crucial clue linking to Rawa's stash? If so, it could deal a significant blow to his organization. In mid-October, a shocking article appeared in which an anonymous member of the Foxtrot gang shared insights into the cause of the conflict, its current state, and the use of young boys as foot soldiers. According to this member, two major events triggered the escalation: the shooting in Turkey and the murder of Ismail Abdo's mother. He stated, "Just because the wind blows slightly in the wrong direction, I don't betray my friends for money. For every family affected, 10 more will get involved. I could hand Rawa over to someone else for 15 million. Someone offered 20 million, but I didn't sell him out. I'm a man, and I would never do that," implying that he could have revealed Rawa's location to Ismail for the offered sum. Regarding the use of boys as foot soldiers, he said, "A 15-year-old boy can take down one person or even 100 people and only receive 4 years in a juvenile detention center." Using teenagers has become a trend. They see people wearing gold chains, they see 15 and 16-year-olds making money, and they have nothing else to do. When asked about whether this was right, he replied, "I don't think it's right, but it's what he has to do." When asked about the future of the conflict, he responded pessimistically, "Never. unless Strawberry surrenders. This shows that neither side intends to back down anytime soon. And as predicted, just 5 days late, a large industrial building was set on fire. Around 2 a.m. on the night of October 15th, a massive fire broke out and spiraled out of control, forcing firefighters to stand by as the 5,000 square meter building was completely consumed by flames. The building was already familiar to police due to a large explosion at the front entrance back in January. The building's owner was none other than Ismail Abdo. The fruit and vegetable business allegedly belongs to his family, and Ismail's nickname, Strawberry, is the origin of this name. Rumors suggest that this warehouse may also have been a drug stash for Ismail. Was this an act of revenge for the raid on Rawa's stash? Police spokesperson Daniel Wickdahl could neither confirm nor deny a connection between the incident and the conflict between Ismail and Rawa. However, with recent events in mind, most believe this was a retaliatory strike and that the war is far from over. In Sweden, gangs once loyal to Rawa have now shifted their support to Ismail. Tensions have escalated further as several of Rawa's associates were arrested in Tunisia last week. Is Ismail growing stronger, or is something simmering beneath the surface, with Rawa and Mustafa Al-Jibouri poised for a fierce counterattack soon? While waiting, Mustafa Al-Jibouri, Rawa's new right-hand man, has risen to prominence and is expected to play a key role. What do you think of this story? Leave your thoughts below in the comments so everyone can see. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support me. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.